Eparisha. So Shakayo Day coming again. And this is a journey into living the practice as an Obatala devotee or Shafunfun devotee. So let's pick up the stories from our ancestors and see how we can apply this in everyday life. So one story we can start with today comes from Albara. And for the full story, full translation, full breakdown, chants and all of that, go to thewhitejuju.com. We have an online living archive. Your support helps us to not only live our dreams as a Baba Osha, but then also to give full-time attention to preserving our practice. So in this story from Obara, it is about a hunter. So this hunter was low on financial success, low on means, low on resources, and it wasn't living the life that it wanted to do. So the hunters went to the diviners, and the diviners told the hunter that, what sacrifices to give and that wealth will wait for him, or he would come across wealth as he goes on about his day, right? He fulfilled the Ebal, and just to be on a lookout for something that may not initially seem like it has value, but it's something for you. So it went into the forest, and the hunter ended up finding these six turtles. And so he didn't think much of it, scooped the six turtles, put them in his bag. And so he ended up coming on back to the house. So there was something that was going on in that city, and the Oba, or the ruler of that city, said they gave the word out to the medicine men, Nishagun, medicine men and women, the healers, and their child was sick. And so they said that we needed six turtles for an elbow to heal their child. And it doesn't matter how much the price is, we'll pay for it. So word got back to the hunter. So let me pause for a second. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So the hunter went back to the house with these six turtles. So as soon as the hunter came home, the wife was chastising the husband, was saying that, what are you doing? You've been out all this time and all you have is six turtles. I can't believe you came home with this nonsense. You're a waste of time. This is just absolutely unacceptable. What am I supposed to do? And was just acting very belligerent and confrontational to the hunter, to the husband. So she was that more upset that she took the turtles behind the husband's back and let the turtles go free into the yard. And Eshu, as he typically does in these essays, makes like a cameo, drops in, and I think he turned the turtles upside down. And word got back to the hunter that this Obai needed these six turtles for an elbow. And he's like, it doesn't matter what the price is, I'll pay for it. And so the hunter was saying, oh, there's a million per turtle. It was like, yeah, it's no problem. We'll give you a million. It's no problem. Need these turtles. So the hunter went back to the home, and he was looking for the turtles, and the turtles were gone. So this story has a multitude of things that one should be aware of. But the reason why this story came to mind, I was speaking to one of my good Oshun sisters, and very bubbly, very warm, always positive. This is one of the first sisters that I met as I was starting this path. And she said, you notice how it's always the person that is closest to you that wishes you the absolute worst. It's always the one that can touch you the easiest that really doesn't care for your well-being. So another Akan brother posted something within that same day, was saying that there are people that are closest to you that are hoping that you fail. And I'm like, okay, something else came. I don't remember specifically, but it was around that same notion. So we know if we get, I would say at minimum, three reoccurring messages in a day, the spirit is bringing your attention to something. Obatala is bringing your attention to something that you should be aware of or that you should take heed to. And in this story, we think about Obatala. Of course, his ancient expression was as Ausar, and how this entity had this reoccurring scenario that these individuals are stating, just like the hunter had stated, is that they had experienced the worst type of betrayal. So the more that I sat here and thought about it, I got quiet. And then, of course, anyone, skilled in clairvoyance and clairsentience and whatnot, clairaudience, is that, the deities, and I'll be specific because everything we do is from an Obatala perspective. Of course, we work with other Osha Funfun, but that was our major deity, Obatala Nyamu. But Obatala Nyamu will place a song in your ear, something that you know of, to state an instance. So sometimes, like that episode of The X Files when they kept on hearing the song "Don't Look Any Further," and they were telling Scully, "Don't look any further," because the serial killer was out to murder her. But sometimes they can put songs on the radio, put songs in your ear. You can come across a conversation and hear something specific to what you were just asking about. So synchronicity is such a beautiful thing, and the world is an oracle. So sometimes we don't need the 16 Kyries. Sometimes you don't need the OB. Sometimes you don't need the Opele King. Is that sometimes you just have to be still and just peep the patterns of reality. So the song that came in my ear was by 50 Cent from Raising Canaan, the introduction song from Raising Canaan. And it was saying, I'm pretty sure y'all familiar with the song. I know heartbreaks, I know setbacks. It's a part of the game. And I was sitting there at the shrine, and I'm just vibing to the joint. Yeah, make money, make money. I know heartbreaks, I know setbacks. It's a part of the game. And when that song played in my ear, I put one and one together. These scenarios that these individuals were experiencing is a part of the game. It's a part of the spiritual journey. That sometimes we may not be giving all of this benevolence, all of this negativity, but then negativity is almost like a magnet for us. We may give altruism, love, and respect to only be met with narcissistic abuse and control and manipulation. We may give our best to an employer. We may give our best hours, the best time of our lives, to only be discarded in such a cruel way. But it's a part of the game. Now, when we think about Obatalas in his existence, and it's almost like simulation theory a little bit, because sometimes they take it away over the top and, start going down rabbit holes that they can't pull themselves up out of. But I do believe in the sense that based on the deity that you're born under, is that you will be almost preordained to experience certain types of things as being a cell to that organ system. It's like a vibration to where it's like you have to experience these things. Our Orionu is a shade of Obatala and Yamu's Orionu, a minute particle of their large Orionu. So things that they experience, we will experience. And it's like they say, the elders say, there's nothing new under the sun. Is that, or even if the young folks say, or the old heads in our generation would say, ain't nothing changed. It's just a couple more names. Like it's the same thing that keeps replaying over and over and over again. Obatala and Yemu experienced these things. Obatala was betrayed by his own children. So there were times where he needed something and his livelihood depended on it. He gave and he gave and he gave to his children and the people who were closest to him, his confidants, only for them to betray him and discard them. Now, I know some of us may have experienced that as well, and some things is very unfortunate when you I deal with broken households or divorced households, and sometimes children can be used as pawns by their parents, in a form of parental alienation. That would hurt. That happened to Obatala. Not the parental alienation and not, through divorce, but he was betrayed by his own children. Think about how that would mean, what that means and what that would feel to him. And this is Obatala. Like this is the highest ranking entity. This is the most senior deity being disrespected by his own children, being embarrassed by his own children. This happened to Obatala. Can you imagine being married and that you're giving everything to your spouse and you're sustaining your spouse? And even though the spouse isn't giving anything monetarily, to only be met with infidelity or adultery. This is something that Obatala had experienced. Can you imagine that betrayal by the person who is supposed to be devoted to you? This happened to Obatala. So there's several stories with him that had him, um, hurt in the worst way by the people he was taking care of. Obatala was also betrayed by residents of a town that he took ownership of. He took the authority to look after a particular population, and they still betrayed him. He ended up being incarcerated for something that he did not do. There were also scenarios to where entities that were serving Obatala also ended up betraying him in that own sense. So this same vibration is something similar. And we can think about this story with Ausar. So with Ausar, of course, we know this story that Ausar was betrayed by his own set of people, by his own crew. Ausar was, he drunk, he was murdered, chopped into 16 pieces. And it was through the devotion of Aset and Nebhet that was able to put him back together. But then, brothers and sisters, when we think about this, it's a part of the game. Sometimes we would experience certain things and it will break us down. It will shatter us. As Ausar was shattered into 16 pieces, as Obatala was bedridden with Bogbogaron, which is like a holistic depression or the sickness to where he couldn't move. But then we're able to put ourselves back together, having a spiritual devotion to what Yamu and Aset represents, right? Being devoted to righteousness, being devoted to spiritual principles. And when we get put back together, we are no longer that person who we were before. When we go through these events, they're showing us something. So that betrayal is a part of the game. It's showing you that maybe when you go on this journey, everyone cannot roll with you. It's a part of the game. Sometimes when you have a place that you want to go or something that you want to become or something that you know you need to do, and it's something that you know that is sacred, you know that it's your birthright, you know that it's something that you are preordained to do, everyone cannot come with you on that mission. And I think that's the most sobering parts about life. This could be family, this could be relatives, this could be spouses, this could be, close friends. Is that there'll be times or periods to where Obatala will start to shave the fat. This will be the time to where he would start to shed the skin. This is a time where you need to let things go. It doesn't feel good to let go of people, and it doesn't feel good to outgrow certain environments and certain people. It's a part of the game. So if you look at nature, one thing, even living in the cold climate of Virginia, I would rather prefer the tropical climate, but I have a respect for the four seasons. And we look at the cycle in life to where you have things that freshly grow. You have that thing that are those leaves that are able to live and sustain off of that summer heat. Then when we see autumn, things start to fall off. Then in the winter, things die, but then things come back again. It's the cycle of life. It is a part of the game. So in life, just as animals or snake skins or whatever, like they will have to shed something that no longer suits them, that is no longer beneficial to them, that no longer serves them. And sometimes we could be preemptive and know, like, hey, let me just adjust my frequency and go in a different direction. Or sometimes things are going to have to be pulled from us. Things are going to have to be taken from us, or we're going to have to experience this heartbreak because these people aren't meant to come with us. So we could be upset about the individuals, and we can, but I always think of life as a mirror. And brothers and sisters, take these pieces home. Is that Obatala is showing us is that life is a mirror, and the things that we see in our environment and from other people is something that Obatala is telling us that we need to change, or something within ourselves that need to outgrow, or things we need to leave. But then more so or moreover than just, the sadness of letting things go, think about who we will become after the fact. So if you think about roses, or like those knockout roses, at the end of each season, you're supposed to cut the knockout roses, if I'm not mistaken, below the nods, the little notch on the vines. And so not only there's a cut off, like old stuff, or old dead or infected pieces, but when you cut below the nod or nodule or whatever, is that it stimulates it stimulates and it promotes new growth for the roses, and they grow in even more of an abundance. So sometimes in life, you're gonna have to cut things back that no longer serve you in order for new things to grow. Sometimes you have to let things go in the past so that new things can come. And we're not gonna disrespect the old, because there was a lesson. People came and showed you something that you need to change in your life. And so even if we're the victims of negativity, even if we're the victims of just cold, calculated behavior, it's cool. It's a learning lesson within that scenario. But then also, what lesson can you give to someone else? We all don't have to be a therapist to help people out. You don't need to be in the classroom to be a teacher. You can share a positive message to someone else, give them your experience, and not only to our own children, but children in the community, the teens, you know what I'm saying? The adolescent youth. Everyone can use some type of positive, motivating words so that they can be led in the right direction. And this is how the priesthood started. They were able to see patterns, they were able to learn from mistakes, and they transmitted that wisdom to the next generation. So, as told in that story of Obara, and sadly, that how the hunter lost things due to the wife that was closest to him is a reoccurring scenario as well. I'm pretty sure we all seen those videos to where, they had those gamers who made like millions of dollars, and their girlfriends were so jealous because of the times that they were spending away from them, and deleted their game, and they deleted their data, and they lost millions of dollars that you can't get back. And some people were saying, oh, well, you shouldn't be crying over a video game, but this was this person's job. And this is how this person made a lot of money, more money than what I'm making. And moreover, this wasn't for that woman to decide what she should do with someone else. And there's several stories that illustrate this same type of just deep-seated just malevolence to how these husbands were treated. And there's a lesson behind it, and it doesn't say to do anything like physically or say there's things that you should do ritually, as she was mentioned in this essay, and that she always fights for the underdog. So not only you can learn, remove yourself from this scenario. Of course, no one should be doing anything just belligerent at all, or no type of domestic violence, or no type of whatever, regardless on what happens. Remove yourself from this scenario, take it to Eshu ritually, of course, take it to Obatala, and they'll return things that have been lost to you, and they'll also give you the gem of a lesson that one should have learned. So it's a part of the game. When we're going through life and we see these hard times, we see these negative people, we see the people that are closest to us that wish you the worst, and that really does hurt. It's cool. Let it go. Pray. Visualize what you want to happen, and let the chips fall where they may. And just because you know something does not mean you have to act on it. When they will possess you, when they will communicate with you in the shrine, when they will communicate with you through dreams, they're just giving you a preview to the movie so you know how to act. And when we speak about psychic power, psychic phenomena that Obatala and Yemu more so preside over, Ajay is Yemu herself. So when they speak about, this power, and people want this power to do so many things that they're not preordained to do, or rather, it is even ethical to do. The purpose of psychic power is to have access to more information to make better informed decisions. So when you see things, or you see something in a dream, and someone is plotting to do something, or if they have already done it, you don't have to show your cards. And you should that should inform the way that you move. I also want to say, because some people are mentally off, or some mentally ill, and or some people don't keep up with their rituals as they should. I would say, if you make sure that you're praying to your Orionu on a daily basis, if you if not at least every 4 days, but try to do it on a daily basis. Shrine or no shrine, you don't need a shrine to show respect to your Orionu. That's my personal belief. If you're an ethical, moral, and you're an upright person, right? Don't try to do dirt and then go into witchcraft, or quote unquote witchcraft, or ritual, and then you wonder why information comes up garbled. And I've seen a lot of folks who know that they're doing some things wrong, or had their cards pulled, know that they're living foul, but then will want to go to shrines, and they're getting all of these paranoid dreams and these paranoid messages, and nothing is ever high vibratory. It's always, oh, this person cheating on me, and this is that. But they don't tell you when somebody's about to die. They don't tell you when somebody's depressed. They don't tell you that your child needs help in their in the career field. They don't tell you that someone needs help because they're losing hope due to like a cancer diagnosis. They don't tell you that someone is anxious or they're fretting over a decision that they made about a major move. You know what I'm saying? Like you can really tell what vibration people are on based on the dreams that they receive and who's talking to them. That low vibration stuff, they're clearly not involved or very serious about their spiritual or their psychic hygiene. So if you are doing that continuously, then you should be able to pick up information. The information should be valid, and you know how to move accordingly. You know what steps you need to make to start planning. And this had happened to me, one of the worst betrayals by someone I was absolutely closest to, that I'd done everything for. Was a unbalanced scenario. They showed me something clear as day to where I almost doubted my relationship with the deity because I would not think that this person would do what they have shown me. But then when I saw a little bit of the breadcrumbs of the whole meal, I'm like, oh, it is true. I didn't blow up. I didn't act a fool. I didn't tell them that I knew, but I started to move accordingly and starting to plan like chess. You know what I'm saying? It ain't checkers, it's chess. So when you have this information, when you know about some stuff, do not react. Start to plan. Tell the deities what you want or what you need. Ask them to protect you, and then just move forward. Don't get all bent out of shape. It's a part of the game. And last thing that I'll leave you with, it's similar to diamonds, but when I was back when I could wear color, and I had a lot of my Kamal jewelry. I had my uchat with the lapis, the carnelian, the jade. Had the eye of Ra, and that thing was bad. There's some old pictures of it, but that thing was bad, very expensive. And so when I was looking at some lapis lazuli, and I seen the rough and untumbled lapis lazuli, and it looked dry and, lack of better words, ashy. Like it didn't really look like it was that precious. But then once that stone goes through heat and through pressure, it comes up as a beautiful gem. Same thing with diamonds. Same thing with you and me, is that, we may come out of the ground rough, looking ashy like lapis lazuli, but we have to go through this process, this heat, this mold, this tumbling, this turmoil, that it brings a gem out of us. That all of these negative experiences make us who we are today. These experiences help us evolve. It raises our vibration, so we're not going to be earthbound when we die. Is that we are helping to push Ra forward on the boat of a million years. Because remember, it's a specific role, and we teach this in our class, that elevated individuals who pass that quote-unquote Iwapuele test, when your heart is weighed by Ausar, and it's way more than ethical moral character. It's certain things that you can do to make you heavy and weigh you down. But Ra needs us, the lighthearted people, to make sure that he is continually moving and sailing through existence in the physical realm. And again, if you want to learn more about that, I really advise you to log in and take our classes at thewhitejuju.com. But these experiences help us evolve into a higher being. And a lot of folks don't really talk about that, to where they feel like they're pulling teeth to act right, or you feel so obligated to take the high road. And as a Baba Osha or Iya Osha, you will take the high road more so than not. It's a part of the game. Don't let it break you. You'll come back and you'll be a stronger version of you. When Ausar was broken into those 16 pieces, that experience had to happen because it was something special that he did, and it was something special that sacrifice greatly enhanced humanity, and in this part even made it to Isheshe as well. Something that happened that he greatly enhanced the lives of all these individuals, but it would not have happened unless he was shattered. And he could have stayed broken or whatever. Through devotion, through our set, he was able to be put back together, and he came back better than before. So don't sweat the betrayal. Don't sweat the haters. Like 50 said, it's all a part of the game. Speak to y'all next time. Ariel Odabo.